We are with Mr. Loven Ramos, Director of Brand and Marketing of the Ascott Group in Philippines. And we are in the Ascott Makati Hotel in Manila. And we are going to have a very interesting discussion about the tourism trends here in Manila and in Philippines and about the Ascott Group. So to start with, give us a little bit some idea about the scene of the hospitality scene in Philippines.
Well, good day to you, first and foremost, and I hope you're enjoying your time in the Philippines. And
Absolutely.
I hope that this is one of the many times that you'll be coming back and forth to the Philippines, and we're hope to be able to host you time and time again. So back to your question. Trends in tourism in the Philippines. It's such a hot topic because for so long, the Philippines has been on the backwater of the robust tourism growth, not just in Southeast Asia, but in Asia as a whole and the world as a whole. It's been left in the limelight for such a long time. But luckily, the past couple of years has shown a resurgence in interest in the Philippines. And not just with the growth of our domestic tourism, but more so generally tourism globally that comes into our shores, visitors from all over the world. And we're happy that it's coming back after a very long time that it's been performance has been really meager, but fortunately, it's been changing. We've been down for so long, so there's no other way to go but up. So
what do you think is the potential for tourism growth here in this part of the world?
So much, because we have so much to offer. We have more than 7,000 islands to look forward to. And apart from that, our attitudes and our cultures change depending on which island you are, depending on the altitude as well. The people from the low-lying islands are so much different from our Filipino brothers and sisters up in the mountains and all that. There's just so much for them to look forward to and to learn. We have different languages that we share. Cuisine as well is quite diverse. The diversity of cuisine from the north to the south, wherever you are, if you are within the confines of a beach and an ocean, then the seafood and all that is very fresh. But then back out in the mountains, out in the lowlands, agriculture is robust. And so cuisine is also patterned by that as well. And also influences. So our north is much more, northern part has a much more direct links to our European influences and all that, American influences, whereas down south, we're far more within the confines of influences from, let's say, Indonesia, Malaysia, our Southeast Asian brothers and sisters, and also Pacific sort of like way of life. So so there's really so many different things to experience.
Which are the most important markets for Philippines?
For the Philippines, internationally, I think the U.S. Has always been traditionally really strong. Spain and also South American, Latin American countries are also quite strong because of the links, the history that we share, and also for the fact that for how many hundreds of years we've been part of a sphere that evolves within the ancient, not the ancient, but the historical maritime trade and exchange of cultures. Of course, Asia has always been really strong as well. And traditionally, Japan and Korea has been quite strong with the Philippines as well because of the direct links. The flights are very strong. There's quite a lot of opportunities when it comes to connectivity. China has also grown. They've slowed down a bit post-pandemic because of the pandemic and all that. I think globally it's a trend. But however, Europe there's some bits of market that I think we've been strong on for quite some time, like Germany and all that. But there's quite a lot more opportunities that we see. Let's say the growth of the Russian market. I think it's all over Asia as well, but it's we didn't anticipate that, but we also are thankful that we are getting that as well. There's a bit of growth as well in the Middle East market also. So yeah, so there's quite a lot of potential, but generally our traditional markets would really be the U.S. and Spain and Latin America, and then plus the mainstays of Asia.
And in this environment, we have the Ascott Group.
Yes.
So
yes.
what is the value proposition of the group in Philippines?
Well, I guess more so Ascott really became well known for our service residences brand. It's really for those who are really looking to stay in a place where they can call a home for anytime from a week to a month to a year or more than that specifically. And it's a place that they can easily transition with, that they can feel at home with, and their needs are all taken care of. Our rooms are quite generous for what they pay for, considering our locations as well as compared to other traditional hotels. So I guess that what's make the brand really successful in the first place. And also many of the competitors that we have before have now become part of the Ascott family. Let's say Somerset, Citadines, and Oakwood, and to name just a few. So, and we're very proud and we're very glad that the growth of the group within that context of the hospitality industry has become quite robust.
How many properties you have currently? And I heard that you have a big development plan.
Yes.
Until 2028, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, at the moment we have 16 properties that are open, and in the next few weeks we'll be opening another one. Somerset, Valero Makati, we're opening it in mid-April. And then we have another Citadines property opening in another island, in Negros Island, our first property in that island, Citadines Bacolod City, which will be opening in May. And in August as well, we'll be going back to Cebu and opening our third property in Cebu, Somerset Gorordo, in hopefully in August. And then end of the year or early 2025, we'll be opening up another Ascott property in Double Dragon and Meridian Park in Bay City. Plus a host of other properties outside of Manila, Davao, Cagayan de Oro, and offshoot 2 hours away from Manila as well. We have quite a good number of properties that we're opening there as well.
So your plan is up to 38, if I'm not wrong,
I
for
think
2028?
at the moment, yeah, we have 30 plus properties that we've planned on opening, but we also are in talks with more properties and all that. So we've been really lucky, privileged, and thrilled that we have so much trust from our different partners, with their growing trust in the brand, and also with the other brands that we are representing as well, that are coming for the first time in the Philippines.
And actually, I wanted to ask you, as a brand and marketing director, which are your challenges, which are the opportunities that you are facing in order to position all these brands in the industry, in the market?
I guess our the opportunities that we have, of course, is because the trust that we have for our service residence component. That one, we're really confident, and our guests are really confident about it. It's something that we do really good. However, when we transition into other hospitality models like a pure hotel and all that, especially with new brands that are coming in that are yet to be tested out in the Philippines, that of course is a challenge, because of course we're trying to educate the public on how it is, even though it's from the same brand, from the same company, the same family. However, they're targeting different markets. They're a different recipe and a
Okay.
different product all in all at the same time. So the challenge is also trying to make sure that they have the same level of confidence for
Okay.
guests to stay in there as well. However, it's also an opportunity for us to explore and see how we grow as a brand, because we're not just focusing on one generation, but we're focusing on we're trying to market it in another generation of guests and also so yeah.
So the profile of your guest is not just business travelers
Yes,
that
yes,
they
yes. It
want
changed quite a
to
lot.
stay for long.
Exactly. So we've also tried to redirect quite a lot of our brands into a singular focus. Let's say, for example, for Somerset, we
Hmm.
target families. For instance, that's why we focus quite a lot on room configurations that are very much friendly towards a family or a group, the connectivity and all that, and being able to embrace each other's presence and within the space. Also, we're trying to ensure that many of our properties are also pet friendly,
Mm. Ah,
because it's really a growing trend and it's a growing market,
really?
specifically a niche one that is growing, and it's really hard to miss out on, because of course I'm a pet owner myself, and it is really great to be able to bring all of your family members to any destination that you want, that you are going for. So I think that's one thing also that I think is quite an exciting market and segment to be able to get into and to focus on, because I think yeah, everybody's really harking towards
Hmm.
pet friendliness these days and all that.
So travelers with pets is one of
Yes, yes,
your
yes,
target
exactly.
audience. Okay.
Right, 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 right. So yeah, because also we have bigger room configurations and larger, more generous space, and that means
Hmm.
we are able to take in dogs, cats, for
In all the
example.
brands or just in Ascot?
No, in we're trying to make it all across the
All
brands,
across your brands.
and not all will be available and ready, but it's transitioning,
It's going
that we're
there.
making sure that we are able to offer that in most of our brands and most of our
So
properties.
another topic will be that all this development and all these hotels that you're having, they must be developed and grow on a sustainable way.
Of course,
So
it has to be.
what is your sustainability practice
Well,
and strategy?
first and foremost, especially for new builds, we are making sure that our building and our architecture and engineering are all within the context of approving bodies to be able to make it 100% sustainable. In order to, of course, from the get go, that should be the plan, because for older buildings, of course, it is much more costlier, but it is a process that we need to work on.
Hmm.
So we're changing everything from lighting to programming a lot of things, so that we don't have to manually turn on and off things, but within the context we're in, it's planned according to the amount of sunrise, the amount of sunlight that you receive each day, and all that. Configuring all of our systems together, so to ensure that all of that is taken care of, and ensuring that we use reusable materials. We try to recycle quite a lot as well. We try to make sure that, like for water, for instance, we try to make sure that we provide water that's on a much more sustainable way. If we are not able to have our own water processing, at least we provide water that's much more larger scale. But since it's
Mm.
a service residence and we guests stay for much longer and
Hmm.
all that,
Yeah.
so rather than just smaller bottles, like we make sure that they have plenty of water to go around. And also, plus of course, our recycling, working with a lot of communities as well, that ensure that for everything from our linen down to the food that we serve, we make sure that we engage our local community, our farmers that are so that our all our food doesn't travel quite a
Hmm.
long distance in order to get to your plate. Little things like that. add up. And if you're looking at hundreds of rooms in configuration, then that's a lot of savings that you are putting back together in the long run. So sustainability is a way to go, not just for the for the financial gain, I would say, but more so because I think we collectively need to do it as a planet, as a world. So I think that's one thing that we're really working forward to. And even with our marketing efforts, we tried to just recently we have this collaboration with WWF. We have Cubby, which is our character that best represents Ascot. It's a bear, Cubby
Okay.
bear. But in the Philippines, we've launched Cubby and Friends, wherein we've gotten together five different animals that are connected to the Philippines to be part of that campaign. We've launched plushies that we sell to guests, and the proceeds of that goes to conservation efforts of WWF, and their conservation programs as well. So, and also much more to gain traction with educating the public, our guests, with the state and the creatures that need a lot more loving care and
Now that you
in
said
the
that, do you
Philippines.
think this is a critical factor for your guests to choose your properties because you have all these strategies? Do you think they appreciate, they look for it?
Yes, well, of course, that adds up to it. And I think because we're a brand that uh, up until recently, we've really gone uh, way and beyond into evolving the brand with what the guest likes, what the guest demands, and what they are desiring when it comes to their stay
Hmm.
and the way that they choose hotels. So it's one thing that we're really adapting to it. And also, I think that's the only way to go for us to survive
Hmm.
in this business dynamics, is for us to be able to adapt to a growing and changing market. Technology, for instance, even changes in a day-to-day basis from that.
I would like to ask you about this because there are two challenges here for the
Yeah.
hotels. One is that after the pandemic, there was a difficulty in finding skilled staff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot left the industry globally, not just
Mm.
here.
Right, right,
So
right.
it's more difficult. These people, they did not get back to the industry yet.
Right, 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 right.
And on the other hand, we have new technologies like artificial
Yeah,
intelligence,
yeah, 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 yeah.
like robotics in some cases,
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
that in many cases, hotels, they are not so familiar in adopting these
Mm-mm.
technologies.
Mm-mm.
Some they scare, some they
Mm-mm.
don't know how to follow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
On
yeah.
the other hand, maybe some technologies, they help
Uh-uh,
to
uh-uh.
cover the gap of the personnel that is not there yet.
Mm-mm.
So how are you dealing with technology yourself?
I
What do you
think
think?
we are in a it's inescapable.
Okay.
Technology is inescapable. It's an integral part of our lives, even not just for the hotel, but our daily lives are run by technology, and we really have to adapt to it and embrace it on that end in order for us to be able to grow with it and to fully utilize its full potential. For technology, we utilize things like AI, for instance. We have our AI-enabled chatbot, Cubby, in our Discover ASR app, and also on our website. So guests who have a quick question for whatever, for the destination that they're planning to go to, how do I get to from the Ninoy Aquino International Airport to Ascott Makati and all that, the chat bot is able to deliver and is able to on the dot reply to it.
Mhm.
And so utilizing AI to our advantage, especially in simple tasks wherein it requires so many man hours, but if it's already configured within the system to work with artificial intelligence, makes a world of difference, because guests are able to do what they need to do, or find out what they need to find out before they book, or to inspire them, or to be able to help them carve out really good, better itineraries for their upcoming trip that would stays with Ascot. They are able to do that with our chatbot. and to be able to do that without having to rely so much on human capabilities and capacities is quite very beneficial in some end, because for us we have so many other things that we can actually work on, rather than to just like answer a simple question like that can be answered by a bot. So for us, we are able to, as humans, able to do some more productive things, because we are able to let AI handle some of our smaller tasks. So I think those things, for instance, help us quite a bit. And also even for us in creating storyboards for marketing and all that, we use a lot of AI technology to be able to conceptualize what we want and all that, combining them with existing photos and images that we already have. And then we wanted to make sure that before we do our photo shoot, we want to create a storyboard, and having an AI create that for you to embody you, to enable you to put together what you have in concept into something that's visually accessible, is easier for a photographer to be able to put together, a videographer for that instance, if we're putting a video together for the hotel. So those little tools are really good, that we think that can be very beneficial, not just for us within let's say a marketing point of view, but it can be used in restaurants as well, in the booking in itself and all that. So I think there's so much potential that's lurking beyond that needs to be discovered, and we won't be able to discover them until we do one step towards it.
Excellent. So before we close, I would like to ask you to visualize the future. And tell me, where do you see tourism in Philippines going in the future, in the near future, and where Ascott will be in this evolvement?
I think I see the Philippines having much more robust growth in tourism, as much as our neighbors are enjoying, let's say like Thailand, Vietnam, and all that. They've collectively sort of like helped out each other because of their closeness to one another. So I guess for the Philippines as a singular destination, a standalone destination, I think being able to connect with our other neighbors would be really beneficial on that end. And I see that connectivity happening, especially with a more focused collaboration in between Southeast Asian countries. Our governments are working hard to make sure that we have much more unity when it comes to tourism. Let's say having one singular visa, for instance, would help encourage a lot more travel within the region as well. I think connectivity when it comes to, let's say, payment schemes and all that, electronic payment schemes would be very beneficial as well, because I think we're really gearing towards a cashless society. So I see the Philippines getting involved in that, so that that would also funnel the growth and fully materialize the full potential that we've been trying to work hard for. So I see it growing also because I think as more and more people are becoming more educated about the Philippines, about our offerings, about the different islands that we have, about the different cultural nuances we have. Like, let's say for the rest of Asia, we are the only, like, say, Latin country within Asia that has that, idea of and culture that's focused on fiesta, on happiness and fun. So I think that's what makes the Philippines quite unique in that way, and I think that's going to be quite a shining beacon in on that end. But not only that, there's so much more opportunities when it comes to discovering so many destinations, islands. Even us Filipinos are discovering for the first time, as travel is becoming much more freer. There's more connectivity in between islands. It's also accessibility between one place to another. building infrastructure and all that. So I think that would really help enable the growth, the robust growth of the Philippines in the long run in tourism.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much as well. It's been a pleasure, and hope to see you back here again in the Philippines soon.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, cheers.